Well, Donald Trump did it again. He turned the latest Republican debate, the third one, like he had turned the other two, into a bit of an empty theatre today, simply by not turning up. In fact, holding a rival rally. So there were the five other surviving candidates on the stage in Florida trying to prove to the Republicans why they should be the party's choice to run against President Joe Biden in a year from now, while Trump skipped it all to hold his own rally also in Florida and attack Biden in his typical Trump style that's making him the favourite at the next election.
Just like the Cuban regime, the Biden regime is trying to put their political opponents in jail, shutting down free speech, taking bribes and kickbacks to enrich themselves and their very spoiled children.
And after today's debate between the rest of the field, Trump has probably got one less challenger to worry about. Entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, he was looking for a while at the hot new thing, pitching to the Republicans hard right and to conspiracy theorists, getting all these talking points from TikTok and all that. But today blew it by attacking the daughter of rival Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, who has been shooting up in the polls.
I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which was about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Your adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy answer.
Scum. Well, that's getting it said. Joining me from Minnesota is John Heinderecke, president of the Center for the American Experiment and a writer on the most excellent Powerline blog. John Heinderecke, it's great to catch up with you. Your take on the debate?
Well, Andrew, it was a lively evening. I think it's good for the Republican Party that we've got it down now to 5 candidates. It's a lot more manageable. We've got more serious candidates. I thought all 5 did pretty well in appealing to their different constituencies. I still think that the serious candidates are Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley. But I think that very likely any of those 5, with the possible exception of Vivek Ramaswamy, would beat Joe Biden. I think it's a pretty good group.
Well, that's a big rap for Chris Christie, but there are actually 6 candidates, and the 6th one who wasn't there was Donald Trump. You saw him on the stage, obviously trying to gazump the debate itself. Do you think any of those 5 that were on the stage would actually take the Republican nomination from Trump?
Well, Andrew, I don't think we know what's going to happen. The polls obviously show Trump way out in the lead. I'm very skeptical about that. The reality is nobody has cast a vote. They're all tied at 0. Nobody's got a delegate. Nobody's got a vote. The Iowa caucuses are in January. Kim Reynolds, the very popular Republican governor of Iowa, has endorsed Ron DeSantis just yesterday. I think people need to start voting. And I think when people start voting in Iowa and New Hampshire, the picture could look very different.
Well, that's interesting. Now, you've mentioned Ron DeSantis. He was there, the Florida governor. He was a long time the front runner of the other candidates. Trump's always been ahead. But his numbers have sunk. And Nikki Haley's, the former governor, hers have risen. And again, she seems more polished with every outing. Do you think that she is Donald Trump's real threat here?
Well, we'll find out, Andrew. I think she's a threat. I think she has performed well in these debates, and I think that has helped her. I think the other thing that's helping her, I hear this from a lot of Republicans, is a lot of people think that she's the most electable of the candidates, the one most likely to win. And Republicans are desperate for victory. And I think that's one of the things that has been buoying her campaign.
Absolutely, but there's also, she seems quite sharp as well, and being a female might help with the women's vote. But look, maybe I'm translating some of the Australian factors to an American context, and that might not work. But Joe Biden, meanwhile, I mean, John, would it be right to say Joe Biden is the big question mark in this whole election? If there's one person that's the most influential in a sense, he says he still will fight the next election. He's not going to stand aside for another candidate, even though polls say voters think he's too old, and he'll probably lose, and lose especially if the Republican candidate is Nikki Haley. If he did step aside, that would completely change, I believe, probably the character of the whole contest. What do you think is going to happen? Will he run? Won't he run? If he does run, do the Democrats have a better chance?
Andrew, I've been saying for quite a long time that Joe Biden will not be the Democratic nominee, and I still believe that that is true. They have a terrible, terrible problem, how to get rid of Joe Biden and also how to get rid of Kamala Harris, who is just as unpopular as Biden, if not more so. And, you know, the polling that is being done recently, Andrew, you see a lot of the comparison Trump versus Biden. But what hasn't been so much publicized is polling Biden versus a generic Republican, or Biden versus DeSantis, or Biden versus Haley. Biden is crushed in swing states by the generic Republican, and he's losing badly to Haley and to DeSantis. I think that one way or another, the Democrats are going to find a way to get Joe Biden out of that race and substitute somebody else. And then the big question is who? You know, people talk about Gavin Newsom. He's got a terrible record as governor of California. I don't know. We'll see.
John Hunter-Reker, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Andrew.